Hi everyone, Professor Lucien with our weekly review for Safety 701 Research Methods and EHS. First, I just want to review some of the things that were from Chapter 2 and especially in Module 1, and that is developing the research question. So this was your first, this week's assignment was your first opportunity to submit a topic, and that you are beginning to use the library resources to identify papers that will help inform you on what is known about your topic area. And the narrowing of the question is what we're going to be focusing on for the next several weeks. I'm going to, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to select a few of the things you guys submitted, and I just want to speak to them. And I don't mean to call anybody out. I'm not going to say who submitted it. I'm just going to give it as examples for everybody so we can learn. Nobody's was perfect, so I don't want anybody to think that if I mention yours that I'm singling you out. I'm not. They're just randomly selected. And as we move forward, the message is going to be, reach out to me with questions. I do have an email I have to respond to, but I'm more than willing to meet with you, either during an office hour or off office hour, whatever works. So in Module 2, you started using the citation management software and the UW Library website. Please reach out to Naomi Shem as well to help you with the mechanics of that effort. And I'm going to be here to try and guide you to narrow the scope and context of your search. And again, I'll speak to that soon. I just want to thank you all. You guys really improved in the time, touch, post, the support for each other. I don't recall a semester in which students provided so much support for each other. And so thank you. I'm glad you guys are helping each other out. I try to begin the semester without too much influence, and then as we go through, I'll apply it as I see needed. But I'm really impressed. I just want to thank you all. That being said, as you'll notice, everybody got a 10 out of 10 on the quiz. Great, that's awesome. Except that when I look at the stats for the time and how you guys completed it, it's pretty evident that you can just go in without even having read anything, take the quiz, see which ones you got right, which ones you didn't, get those answers, and then get it right. If I'm called upon to respond to the question, are they acquiring the knowledge from the textbook, the quiz wouldn't be an accurate depiction based on how it's delivered. So for this week, you get 3 opportunities. It'll go back to 2 next week, but you're not going to be able to see the answers you got right or what you got wrong. You can take it to see a look at the questions because they're not going to change, and then maybe in the reading, at that point, you can key on certain things and then get it right on the second try or the third try. But I'm not going to be able to provide the correct answers or the ones you got wrong, because that in itself creates a mechanism in which you can just pass a quiz without having to read anything from the textbook. So I apologize for if there's any confusion this week, which is why I added an additional opportunity to take the quiz. But if I'm called to explain how that works, I wouldn't be able to do it based on how it was. Everything else is looking really good. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm really happy. But again, it would be great if we could find a time that works more mutually for a group of students to get together for an office hour so we can kind of go off of each other's questions. I've always noticed that works better. I've gotten a few questions about, is my research question right? Well, it depends on what the literature says. We start a lot of you have started very broad with a portrait. And now as you start filling in what is known, it should be narrowing in scope. And I think it'll get better week after week. At this point in the game, we're really early. You don't have to submit your first real true proposal for approval until after week 4. But we are in week 3. And so time flies by, right? The 2 complaints, and this is very common that I had noticed, is aside from selecting a good question, is the time it takes to get the right papers. That's a skill that's being developed right now, and everybody develops that at a different speed, but it is coming around. Please let me know if there's a different office hour time that you could meet. In addition to continuing this pursuit of a research question, preparing a research proposal, I also need everybody to complete 2 courses within the CITI Human Subjects training. It's due by June 14th, but if you need more time, let me know. I'm more than willing to extend this deadline. as of today, somebody already completed them, so I think that's pretty awesome. Here's a copy of the certificates you'll receive after completing the 2 courses. The first one is the Responsible Conduct and Research. The second one is the Human Subjects Research, Social Behavioral and Educational Sciences, basic training. I had to go through, as a principal investigator and as a faculty member, I think I had to go through 6 different courses. And I actually had to go and renew them not too long ago. And I think it took me about 2.5 hours to do all the renewals. I had a student, she completed all of hers, and she said it took under 2 hours. So depending on how, I guess, on your speed of acquisition of information and the quizzes, it may take you anywhere from, if you're quick, an hour and a half. If you like to take more time, maybe 3 or 4 hours. But it's good information. And it's important for the degree that you complete that stuff and we get the certificates. Narrowing this, now we're trying to narrow your research question to something that can actually be investigated within a study. And that's what we need to be working on. So continue with the literature searches, look at the book and everything. I like that you guys are allowing yourselves to go down the rabbit hole, to take the red pill, to really explore things. And I want you to be, we're going to start looking at the literature you're collecting a little bit differently. So we can identify what was learned in order to add to your what is known. All right, what I'd like to do is just read a few of the things you guys had submitted. Again, I'm not picking on anybody. The first one, this was the basic idea of a topic. What are the causes and costs of slip, trips, and falls in an aircraft maintenance facility? You could probably look that stuff up, or is what you would do to go in and do observations or look at years of data, would you be able to extrapolate that? Would others be able to learn from that? Is it specific enough, or could you focus on a particular activity within aircraft maintenance facilities that have a higher prevalence or chance of a serious slip, trip, and fall injury, and therefore maybe investigating the effectiveness of certain control strategies for that type of situation? You got to think it now. We would need to start thinking, can it be generalized, or is it only an answer to a question for a particular facility? Another question is the Clean Water Act effective in providing inhabitable waters for wildlife and healthy surface water? I think that's in the preamble of the Clean Water Act. So is there a particular aspect of the Clean Water Act? Is there a particular application of inhabitable waters that have been maybe mistreated or mishandled that you want to look into? So that this needs much more detail. And I'll do one more. What methods or techniques are best suited to radiation safety and compliance training in academic institutions? What specifically is it about academic institutions that are tricky versus other, and why radiation safety? Why what are is that a big concern? Can you prove that it's a big concern? And could you narrow it to as far as best suited? There's some complications there as far as I don't know how you would test it. Is there a particular technique you want to test? And is it the application? Is it recognition? There's a lot of steps there that need to be narrowed too, so it could be tested in a study versus, over a long period, multiple studies, you could get to that answer. So I don't want to do any more than that. And those of you who I use, thank you. Thank you for, starting here. And I could have gone through a lot more, but this is already longer than I wanted it to be. As you continue to do your literature search, retrieving articles and reading them, again, really trying to define what we know about this. So a lot of you asked really big questions. As things are answered, that should be narrowing your scope and context. And if you need assistance, please, I'm here, Naomi's here, my colleagues are here within the department to answer your questions. This isn't a simple, here's the solution. This is something you have to work through. So you guys are doing a great job. I have no red flags, no concerns about anything I'm seeing or hearing. You guys are right on track with where I'd want you to be at this point. Just continue to build and realize that pretty soon you're going to be much more aware of what you've accomplished and what you're going to do with it. It's there. I can see it. You can't see it yet, but realize you guys are doing a great job. So please keep supporting each other in the discussion board. Please let me know if there's a time or date that works better for everybody, because group office hours are really effective at kind of learning from each other and teaching. I'm badly. Anyway, so reach out to me if you have any questions.